Welcome back to Nexus Tech. Sometimes a single day can tell you everything you need to know about where the future is headed. Today, we're zeroing in on one of those days, November 5th, 2025. It was a day that saw giants make billion-dollar bets, markets get seriously shaken up, and breakthroughs that could literally reshape our world.
So let's dive right in. We're going to unpack 6 critical stories that all unfolded on the very same day. We're talking AI, crypto, the very nature of code, cybersecurity, even fusion energy. It's kind of crazy, but this one 24-hour period gives us a perfect snapshot of the massive forces at play right now.
First up, let's talk about the big guns, the power plays. We're looking at the massive, strategic chess moves from the biggest names in tech and finance as they try to navigate this landscape of huge opportunity and, of course, equally huge risk.
And it really doesn't get much bigger than this. A reported $1 billion annual deal between Apple and Google. And what's it for? To bake Google's incredibly powerful Gemini AI right into the core of the next generation of Siri.
This just shows you the insane scale of this upgrade. Now, you can think of parameters as the little dials and knobs an AI can tweak to learn and get smarter. And we're not just talking about a small jump here. We're going from 150 billion to 1.2 trillion. It's a colossal leap in brain power. And it's made more efficient using something called a mixture of experts architecture. Basically, it's like having a whole team of specialized AIs working together, instead of just one giant do-it-all brain.
But here's the really interesting strategic twist. This is just a stopgap. Apple's already hard at work on its own trillion-parameter model, codenamed Glenwood, and they're aiming for a 2026 release. And crucially for them, they're screaming privacy first. All the heavy lifting will happen on Apple's own private cloud compute servers. This is a big deal, because it means none of your user data ever gets shared with Google. The goal here isn't just better trivia answers. It's about enabling really complex, multi-step thinking.
So while the tech titans were busy making deals, the financial side of the tech world, well, it was having a much tougher day. The crypto market took a pretty significant dive. Bitcoin dropped 2.5%, but Ethereum got hit even harder, falling a full 6%, pulling the whole market down with it.
So what was driving all that turbulence? Well, according to analysis from 10x Research, this wasn't just some random one-day blip. It's part of a much bigger trend. Seems long-term holders have been selling off a staggering 45 times billion dollars in Bitcoin over the last month alone, likely spooked by all the uncertainty in the wider economy.
Okay, so from the markets, let's pivot to how our digital world is actually being built. Our next section is all about how the code is changing, because believe me, the evolution of programming itself is accelerating like crazy.
And right at the heart of this whole shift is a new term you've probably heard, vibe coding. Sounds a little out there, right? Well, it was just named Collins Dictionary's Word of the Year, and what it means is a whole new way of programming, using just natural language. You allow developers to simply describe what they want to happen, their intent, instead of writing out every single line of code by hand.
The ultimate vision, as articulated here by the guy who kind of started it all, Andrej Karpathy, is pretty profound. The idea is to get to a point where developers can literally forget that the code exists. It's all about focusing on the what, not the how.
But, and this is a huge but, here's a fascinating reality check. Despite all the hype, a study from July 2025 found something nobody expected. When you gave these AI coding tools to expert developers, their time to finish a task actually went up by 19%. It's just a brilliant illustration of the gap between the promise of these tools and where they are right now.
Now, that little detail hasn't stopped the arms race, of course. The two heavy hitters in this new space, Cursor 2.0 and Windsurf, have totally different philosophies. Cursor is built on top of the super popular VS Code, and it's all about speed and quick changes for solo developers. Windsurf, on the other hand, is its own separate thing. It's a bit slower, but it's more accurate, and it's really designed for big, complex projects with whole teams working on them.
Now for a completely different kind of evolution, a true grassroots success story. For the first time ever, Linux gaming has officially crossed 3% market share on Steam. Okay, I know, 3% might not sound like a lot, but for this community, trust me, this is a massive, historic milestone they have been working towards for years.
So how in the world did this happen? The answer really comes down to one word: Proton. It's this amazing compatibility layer developed by Valve, and it's basically the magic ingredient. It allows nearly 90% of all the games on Steam to just work on Linux, and a lot of them run just as well or sometimes even better than on Windows.
All right, for our final section, we're looking at the two sides of the tech frontier. It's the dual nature of progress, right? On one hand, you have the new dangers it creates, and on the other, the incredible new possibilities it opens up.
Let's start with the threat. And this one is particularly nasty. It's what's known as a zero-click vulnerability. And yes, that is just as bad as it sounds. It means an attacker can break into a device without the user having to click a single link, open a file, or do anything at all.
So just how bad are we talking? Well, it's been given a severity score of 9.8 out of 10. That's about as critical as a vulnerability can possibly get. It allows a remote attacker to run their own code on your device with absolutely no help from you.
And the scope of this thing is just enormous. This isn't some niche problem on an old device. It affects Android versions 13, 14, 15, and 16, which covers a massive portion of all the smartphones on the planet. Google has released a patch, but now the race is on to get it out to everyone.
But on the very same day that this threat was making headlines, a story of incredible progress emerged from a totally different field. Researchers at Texas Tech announced a major breakthrough in fusion energy research. They figured out this incredibly elegant way to build a new kind of neutron detector, which is a critical piece of the puzzle for future fusion reactors.
And the results were just phenomenal. They achieved a 5% neutron detection efficiency. Now, that might not sound like a huge number, but for this kind of technology, it is a massive leap forward. It really opens the door for building the compact, powerful sensors we absolutely need to make fusion power a reality.
Look, there is so much happening, and it is all unfolding so incredibly quickly. And that's exactly why it's more important than ever to stay plugged in.
If you want to keep up with the trends and the breakthroughs that are genuinely shaping tomorrow, you know what to do. Make sure you're subscribed to the Nexus Tech channel. We'll be right here to break it all down for you.
So, after all that, after looking at this one single jam-packed day, what's the big takeaway? What does it all mean when you put all these pieces together?
I think it leaves us with this question. We see these corporate giants making billion-dollar decisions that affect us all. We see AI evolving in ways we don't even fully understand yet. And we see these hidden, critical risks popping up right alongside incredible breakthroughs. So as this acceleration just keeps getting faster, it really makes you wonder, who is truly in control? Thanks for joining us.